And so as soon as I left that relationship, in 6 months, I hit my first 10K month, and the rest was history.
Today's guest is speaker, content creator, and founder. Today, she shares her wisdom and insights to how we can live our most financially abundant life on our own terms. Joining me today on the podcast is Jasmine Elizabeth.
How does money actually work and the system that sits under money? Like, what do people really not understand about it?
We were raised and programmed to think there is not enough. And then people think in lack, so they always settle. You're making yourself small for somebody else to feel comfortable. Definitely that mindset is what led me to choose relationships that would give me very little. I had no choice but to be my own backup plan.
How did you kind of step into that, I guess, attitude or mindset?
The biggest thing that I had to unblock was...
Hey balancers, and welcome back to another episode of The Balance Theory. Today's guest has been a really serendipitous kind of happening. And I wanted to take an opportunity to kind of share with you guys, because I never really speak about how I choose guests. For me, it's either I meet people in real life that I really connect with, and then I want to have a further conversation with them on the show, get to know them a bit more, or it's people I come across online. And in the same way, I'm drawn to kind of their content. Now, that doesn't mean I have to have been following them for years. It's just like instantly I know if what this person is about, what they're talking about, their messaging, if it aligns with me. Now, this particular guest today, I literally last week came across her content and I was really drawn to it. And I saw that she was in Dubai, but I didn't know that she didn't live here. And the second part of this story is that the studio I use is normally booked out for like a month to 2 months in advance. So it just so happened that she was visiting in Dubai and I had a spare interview slot due to other cancellations on her last day of being in Dubai. So I feel like whatever is going to come out of this conversation, whatever gems, the messages, it's like truly meant to be. Yeah. So I'm very excited to welcome Jasmine Elizabeth onto the podcast today. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Wow. And I feel like it definitely was no coincidence. It's definitely, I call it alignment, that everything happened so flawlessly. You know, you said like it took two, and even me, I was trying to book this studio too. And it was 3 weeks in advance. So I would have already been gone. So the fact that you were able to get a last minute spot, I leave to Toronto, Canada tonight. So this is like the last day. So we squeezed it in and I think it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, agreed. Really excited to get into it. So one of the things you talk about that I love, which is something I've really tapped into, I guess the last 2-3 years, is finding the confidence to create life on your own terms. Mm-hmm. I know that wasn't always where you were. Mm-hmm. So talk to me a little bit about your journey into finding that confidence to actually create your own life.
Okay, so it goes back. Well, I first started entrepreneurship in 2017 and I didn't have success until 2019. And a lot of people always ask me like, well, what changed between 2017 and 2019? So in 2017, I was first introduced to entrepreneurship in the network marketing space. And I really wanted to be financially free. Like I wanted it so badly. And then in 2019, I valued it. So I valued independence. I valued becoming financially free.
Can I just ask you something? Yes. Sorry. What's the difference between wanting it and valuing it?
So the difference is it becomes a part of your identity, and it's one of your values now. So it usually happens when it either happens with like something happened in your life that you're like, okay, this is who I want to be. These are my beliefs. These are my principles. These are my values, and I want to go ahead and execute on those values so that I can achieve my goals. So wanting it is like everyone wants it. Everyone wants success, but I feel like with my story, I had to go through a scenario, which I will talk about, of feeling very low in my life, feeling like I was being controlled, and feeling like I was relying on others instead of relying on myself to do it. And I had to go through that experience. So 2017, 2019, 2017, I literally was quitting and coming back into it and quitting and coming back into it until I found someone who could provide for me. And that's when I thought that was my lotto ticket. I'm like, okay, I don't have to try anymore. I don't have to work on my business anymore. This is so hard. So let me just put my independence to the side and depend on somebody. And I feel like God needed to really let me know, or really have me in that experience, so I can value independence. So I had to go through that relationship where he really, controlled me financially. He was providing for me, and he had no peace in his life. And so that projected onto the relationship. And that's when I was like, okay, well, this is not who I am. I want to go back to where I was, like where I was trying to figure it out on my own so I can have full control over my life. And so that's when I started valuing my independence. From that moment, I feel like I had to, a lot of people have to hit rock bottom in order to see where they want their life to be, to have that peace in their life again. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's kind of like how I got into entrepreneurship. The confidence, though, was more so about me having to let go or release the ties I had to the results. Like I had my worth connected to the results. So once I let go of that connection of feeling worthy every time I had success, a little bit of success, or when it didn't go my way, I would feel worthless. So I had to cut ties on the connection with that and the results in order for me to start living in my truth and my authenticity. Because I feel like a lot of people, they use their worth and they connect it to the results every time. And it's like, you're always going to feel disappointed if you are always tying your worth to the results. So I think once I did that, the confidence started to come in. And the confidence for me was taking action, a little bit of action, showing up a little bit every single day so that I can prove that I can keep my word. That I can keep what I said I was going to do a little bit every day went a long way for me. Yeah.
Couple things I want to pull out there. So the first one is, it's such a beautiful reframe when you can appreciate a relationship that didn't work out, a job that didn't work out, an opportunity that didn't go your way as a necessary reference point in your life. And I always say this, like, how would you know that the business you've started, the job you have, the city you're living in, the friendships you've got are the right ones for you if you haven't had any lived experience to show you what you don't like, right? Yeah. I think experiences are not just meant to show us what we like and appreciate and what we want, but also the opposite. So that when we do get the right thing, it is obvious to us, right? We have that experience. So I love that you've kind of got that reframe on that point in life. Like life showed me that at that moment.
Always. Life is our greatest teacher.
Yeah.
I feel like.
The second part, which most people listening to this show will resonate with, is that feeling of our worth being tied to our productivity, to our output, to our results. So you said you had to cut ties with that.
Yeah.
And that's a place I think many of us want to get to. And to be honest, it's been something I've been very proactively working on, because the way I have been raised and trained, I think the society I live in, it's school, uni, work, the corporate system as well is very much based on merit. Everyone is held to the same standard in terms of, how much output you're doing every day.
Yeah.
I've gone through the years learning that us as females, we're on, let's say, 28-day average cycles. So we don't come and show up every day and have the same output every day. 100% today might look like I've got 5% to give. That means if I give 5%, I've given 100%, right? So it is a shifting thing. So for you to actually cut ties with that, to then come into your inner worth, did you have to replace it with something else? What were how did you actually navigate that? Because it's a beautiful place to get to, but I'm just wondering if there was anything practical you did that would help the listeners.
So I learned about myself. Like, I learned what I value. I think values, if you are being led by your values, if you are working towards showing up that are like, how would I put this? Like, some values could be like your spirituality, maybe your relationship with God, or it could be freedom. Like it could be what could it be? It could be like health and wellness. Like you really value your health, and if you show up working towards those values every single day, for me, that helped me be like, okay, well, at least every single day I showed up and with my values. Like I worked a little bit on how to get better with becoming financially free, or I worked a little bit better to getting closer with God. And that gave me fulfillment in replacement of me connecting my worthiness to the result. So for me, becoming a better person meant acting towards my values every single day. And I grew more towards those values, which helped me become a person of value. So then I projected that onto the world, and people seen that, and I attracted better opportunities, better relationships, better friendships that were aligned with those values. So I feel like people need to be connected with their values and take action on those values. And I feel like that's the replacement that I had with tying down my worthiness with the results. Yeah.
That's actually, I mean, you're not the first person to talk about getting clarity on your values on the show. And there's a good reason for it, because it's such a valuable thing to do. So I guess in my head, there's two parts. The first is identify what your values are. And for people listening who haven't actually done it before, you can go online and there are like easy values tests you can do, or like, you know, online prompts that'll help you kind of narrow it down to your top 3 and 5, which is actually a very hard thing to do. The first time I did it, there were like hundreds of values.
There were so many.
And I was like, how am I going to choose 3? But if you take the time when you're not in a rush and you can do it.
Exactly.
Then the second part of that is every day checking in and asking, did I live in alignment with those values?
Yes.
And it also does this beautiful thing, which is it gives you a framework to make decisions in.
Yes.
Right? If you want to say no to something, if you would like to do an opportunity or take up a new job or something, you're always framing it within your values, which I think is a really beautiful way and replacement that's practical to the way we traditionally view success and our own worth.
Yes.
So what if somebody listening, and I'm not sure if you had this experience, where perhaps your values or the way you had created your life was kind of in someone else's vision. Now, someone else could be your parents, your partner, society, right? What other people have layered on to tell you is success, right? Because I was there. I was sitting in a corporate job and I was like, wow, I've supposedly reached the epitome of school, uni, work tick. And I felt so unfulfilled, right?
Yeah.
So that was a key moment for me where I was like, wow, I feel like I'm living someone else's dream, but it's not mine. So did you have that experience at all? And what advice would you give to people who are maybe having that realization?
Yes. So definitely went through that exact moment my entire life. My mom obviously wanted me to be in school, university, get a good job, the normal thing. And I don't hold resentment to my mom for even thinking that, because that's what she was raised on. So she was only doing what she knew was best for me. So, but she would always put it in my head, like, you need to have a good job so you can have benefits, working at a government job so you can have those benefits and it's stable and steady. And I did. I followed that route. I went to university and it was so out of alignment. And at the time I didn't know what it meant. I just knew that it wasn't what I wanted to do. So how I learned to finally go into my purpose and be in alignment with the journey that I'm on right now is not living by default, like not living in what somebody else wants you to do, and living in your truth. But you have to find out what it is, what your truth is, what is your purpose, your calling, and what do you want to be known for? Or do you want to keep playing in somebody else's vision and for you to play small your entire life? So for me, it's like I needed to make decisions based off of my values. And I feel like every time I rant, but again, you have to figure out what your values are in order for you to always make those decisions based off of your values. So for me, it was like just being drained, being burnt out, because I wasn't living in my truth and my purpose, and really figuring out, okay, what do I want to be known for in this world, in order for me to be fulfilled and be happy. And it's really a reflection on your life and what you want to do in this world. It really is deeper, and you wanting what you want out of this life to create fulfillment. So I think that's really getting out of living by default and making decisions based off of your values. Yeah.
And I think just something I want to call out, like, I mean, oftentimes you hear the stories, people have been burnt out, they're at rock bottom. That's what kind of kicks us into gear enough to make those shifts.
Yeah.
But for people listening who are also on like cruise control right now,
yeah,
where things are on autopilot, and maybe you are in that default mode, like, it's still an opportunity to go within and just almost do an assessment, right? Because it is your life at the end of the day. Like, you don't have to live it on this mediocre mode. You can always be questioning, and that doesn't mean you have to every day 24/7 be doing an audit of every area of your life, every single relationship. But I think every now and again, just checking in, even if you're not at this rock bottom or burnt out phase, is a really nice way to prevent that happening, and B, just always be checking in for like, where can I have more in my life? Right? Because I know that's something you love talking about, how you stopped settling for like not wanting to ask for too much. And now, you know, how did you kind of step into that, I guess, attitude or mindset of being okay, kind of claiming more for yourself? Because I feel like as women as well, we don't want to take up space. You know?
So I was always that person that was like, well, I'm not even asking for much. Like, I'm not asking for much. And it's like every time I had that identity in me and that look like it for my life, I always made decisions based off of that identity, of like that mindset, that belief of like, okay, I never ask for too much, so it should be fine. But every time I wouldn't ask for much, I would be disappointed, or I just felt like I wasn't choosing myself. So I feel like I want the world. I want everything, because I know who I am, and I know the worthiness that I have within me. And it was when I started choosing me where I was like, okay, well, who is me? And me is a lot. I am a lot, and I take up room, I take up space, and people feel my presence. So if I should have the audacity to ask for everything, because that's who I am. Like in me, my presence, it's a lot. It's taking a lot of space. So I feel like once I knew that, I started everything started to rise with those standards. So
Do you feel like when you were in that headspace of like, I'm not going to ask for too much, I'm not going to take up space, that's what attracted you into what sounds like maybe the wrong relationship for you in the past?
So yes.
I say wrong not because it didn't serve a purpose, but in hindsight.
Yes. So yes, I settled for the bare minimum. I would always, so I'm 34 years old, my entire 20s, I would always choose the lesser route, like okay, I'm not asking for too much, it's fine, this is fine, like I'm just gonna put up with this. But that, again, that comes with identity, like who you are. Like, you're not choosing yourself, you're settling, you're making yourself small for somebody else to feel comfortable. So yeah, definitely I would say like that mindset is what led me to choose relationships that would give me very little.
So kind of fast forward now, sounds like you've obviously done a lot of work on yourself. You're living in alignment with your values.
Yes, trying my best.
You spoken at length about your spirituality and your religious connection.
Yes.
So now, like, kind of fast forward, you're single, you're dating. You had this viral reel where you talk about, if he was broke, I wouldn't choose him.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's quite jarring when you hear it, but when you hear the substance of what you're actually saying.
Yes.
Can you unpack that for us? Mm-hmm. Because I feel like people are too scared to be that bold, but what you're actually saying, I think, is something everybody should uphold for themselves.
So this one specific video came with a lot of backlash. I actually love that you're asking this question, because I wanted to elaborate more on it now that it went viral. So this video, I'm a content creator. Of course, I'm looking for different ways to get people's eyeballs onto my page. And so I seen this one hook, which was, if he were broke, I wouldn't choose him. And I'm like, this is going to be controversial. I'm going to use it, but I'm going to elaborate what I mean on this. And a lot of men did stop listening after that one hook, and they just didn't hear the rest of the message. So I actually want to clarify on this. And this is one of the videos that I actually regretted. Like, I was like, oh, I regret doing this video. Like, this brought so much backlash. Nobody understood anything. Well, the men didn't understand anything. And I didn't, like, it made me feel very uncomfortable because it was like, they didn't understand the message. They understand the opposite. So I'm here to clarify that I did not mean that I want a multi-millionaire boyfriend, and like that was not the message. So I'm gonna talk about, actually, I've been on both extremes. I've been, like I said, I've been with a man who was a multi-millionaire and who was young, who was handsome. He gave me the world, gifted me a Bentley truck, Chanel bags, the lifestyle, the penthouse, everything. And I thought, every girl thought that this was a dream. But for me, it was a prison. I was silenced. I was manipulated. I was controlled. And he just didn't have peace in his life because of that. So he projected that into the relationship. And so that didn't work out for me. And I left it. And then I got into another relationship, which was the opposite. He loved me very well. He knew how to love me, but he lacked vision and ambition. So, and that to me, I thought that, okay, I'm not going to be with a guy who has money because he's going to rob me of my peace. So let me be with someone who knows how to love me. And I learned from that experience that love is not enough. There needs to be more, depending on where you're at in your life. If you are in your early 20s, maybe love is enough. But I'm 34 years old, and I have to think about the future, my future. And I seen that wasn't going to work for me either.
It's like two extremes.
It's two extremes. And so what I want to say about that video is, I need a man who is ready emotionally, spiritually, and financially. Okay. And for the purpose of, because I want to raise a family. So when I have children, I want to have beautiful children. I don't want to be a busy mom. I want to be a present mom. Right. So I know what it takes to run a business or have success and make money, and especially the type of income that I'm making. And my worst fear is having a child and being more intentional with my business than with my child. That's my biggest fear. And another fear is being with a man who doesn't have peace in his life, but brings that chaos into the household. So I'm not gonna settle for a man. I don't want to raise my child in dysfunction just because I didn't wait on God's best for me. So that's what I meant with that video is I need someone who's ready emotionally, spiritually, financially. I have built myself up to be who I am. I'm still healing, but I've healed, I'm growing, and I just don't want to give that to somebody who hasn't done the same. So that's I hope that was a good answer for everyone.
To be fair, like, I listened to the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's definitely the message I got. And what I liked about it was it really, like, I laugh because everything I talk about on this show comes back down to, like, knowing yourself and what you want and your own values. And the bottom line is what you think and feel about yourself is reflected in the opportunities you get. Mm-hmm. Opportunities being career-wise, work-wise, relationships, friendships, all of that.
Yeah.
Right? If you're not happy with something that is in your immediate reality, you need to do a check-in with your internal world because everything is a reflection. And so if you are not holding that standard or that vision of yourself, right, that you think you are worthy of all these things, then of course you're going to attract something that aligns with what you genuinely believe.
Yes.
And so for me, like, the whole idea, I know it's triggering for people, like, I'm not going to choose him if he's broke, but someone who, like, they don't have to be a multimillionaire, right? But I think about it too, like, if I was single, I would need to be with someone who was driven and ambitious and working on something and had a vision for their life.
Yes.
It doesn't mean they have to be at the end and achieved it all.
Yes.
But, like, start writing the chapters,
Yes.
you know, and let's write them together.
Yes.
That excites me. That's what my husband's like,
Yes.
you know. And so I fully get that and appreciate that. But for people that are single and listening to this, have you sort of done any, I don't know if you like journal or like do any kind of internal questions with yourselves or check in or anything like that? But is there anything practical you can share with them? Because I realize I often don't talk about being single because it's just not an experience.
Yes.
I've been with my husband for 10 years.
Oh, that's amazing.
But for the people who are single listening, this could be an
Yes.
opportunity for them to maybe just get some insight. You know, what kind of things should they be asking themselves to make sure they're attracting the right people?
Okay, so what should they be asking themselves on, like, what they look for in a man?
Yeah,
Or-
either what they're looking for or even what they're thinking and feeling about themselves. Just to make sure, like, because, you know, I have a lot of friends that are like, I've been on like every guy, the last 5 guys I've dated, they're all the same, right? So it's like, is that something we can change?
Okay,
is it
yeah.
an attraction thing?
Yes. So I feel like for me, it's like every time I like show interest and I see it doesn't end up working out, I reflect back into, okay, what made me focus on this? Like, why did I give this attention? Like, why did I give that person attention? Like, what was it that I internally was craving out of, like, wanting that attention from that person? And I, like, for me, we'll get deep. For me, I struggle with, like, you know, I mean, I guess everyone goes through this too, is like, you just want the attention. So that could be dangerous because you can just get attention from anyone in this life. Like with men who are unhealed, broken, they can give you the attention. But long-term wise, it's like, okay, well, what would be worth getting the attention? Like what are their, like, for me, I have to get to know someone's values and see right away if it aligns with my values. So, and you're not going to see that right away. You're going to, for me, it's a 3-month probation period is what I like to call it, right? So a 3-month probation period, because at the beginning, and also something that I do is, like, I don't really tell them much about me or my values. Like, I don't tell, because then they can, you know, mold themselves to be that at the beginning. I want to see them for who they are and then get my clarity from that. So I would say, like, 3-month probation. I don't really journal down of what is it that, like, I don't really do that stuff. Like, I just kind of, like, reflect in and I just, like, ask myself, like, what was it that allowed me to give this person attention and why? And then what is it that we can fix within in order for us to not get, in order for us to not focus on that? What do we have to heal within to be able to attract better? And that's something that I'm more aligned with. So for me, it's like, it really is spiritual. Like, I go back to God every time. When I'm craving attention, I go back to God, because God, He fulfills me in every way possible, love, reassurance, everything. And so that's why for me, it's like, I actually want a man of God that is in his, I'm Christian. So I want to have a man who reflects his character within Jesus, like Jesus's characteristics. I want the man to reflect his character, because I feel safe and reassured in Jesus. So I feel like that is kind of my guideline, like my focus point of, like, okay, how's your characteristic? And if if it aligns with what I want, like, in a man, then I kind of, like, guide myself through there. So I don't really have a journal. No, I don't really do that.
Yeah. But I think what you've just shared, even just the simple question of like, what made me attracted to this person?
Yes.
Right. Especially if you've been going on a string of dates and
Yeah.
we've had a few bad experiences in a
Yeah.
row, or you're just coming out of one particular experience. Like, even if I reflect back to my old dating days,
Yeah.
you know, like if I actually ask myself that question,
Yeah.
like there are things that come out of that teach you something about yourself, about maybe you're in a particularly fragile or vulnerable state.
Yeah.
And that simple question would tell you it's actually not a time to be opening yourself up to others right now.
Yeah.
And there's work to be done. Or maybe you're looking for something because it mirrors something you had and you're trying to replace it.
Yes.
But was that the right thing for you, right?
Yes.
Is it the only thing you've ever known?
So familiarity is something that made me go down that path of like just settling for people that were chaotic or inconsistent in their emotions and in who they were as a character, because I was raised with a father, unfortunately, who didn't know how to love me because he was unhealed himself. So I would see familiarity in that and think, okay, that's love. So that's why the healing has to happen. You have to know what true healed love is, and then that has to be your guideline, because a lot of people go to what's familiar, and familiar can be toxic love from what you've been raised on. And that in my situation was for me with my father, unfortunately. So I had to relearn and rewire my mindset on what love really is. And that's why I talk a lot about my faith, because that's where that gave me so much reassurance that, okay, this is what true love is. And like, I want a man who embodies that. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
No problem.
I'd love to kind of pick your brain a little bit more on like business and money.
Yes.
So you talk about how, and I can personally vouch for this as well, how starting a business is very much like a self-development journey.
Yes.
What was the biggest thing you had to unblock or unlearn in order for you to achieve the success that you've got today?
So the biggest thing that I had to unblock was me thinking that I needed to be an expert and embrace the beginner journey. So I feel like for me, the reason why it took me so long to get to where I'm at, which I feel like a lot of people can get it in half the time that I did, is because I wanted to wait for the perfect timing. I wanted to wait until I had more information so that I can be seen as the authority in my field. And I had to quickly realize that actually people are gravitated by authenticity. People are gravitated by the realness, and the realness is you as a beginner. Like, being a beginner is a lot more relatable than someone who is 100 steps ahead.
True.
So I had to realize, I had to unblock that, get that out of the way and embrace my beginner journey. And that's when I started attracting a lot of people into my business that were on the same journey, but they looked up to me because I was just one step ahead. So that's all. A lot of people think they have to be like 100 steps. No, you just got to be one step ahead. As long as you're focused on self-improvement and teaching, and putting that into your life and then teaching that to others, you will have people being inspired by you. So I feel like that's what I really had to learn, is just embracing the beginner journey.
Yeah, that's really powerful.
Yeah.
And then you also talk about how you had your first 10K month right after you left your toxic relationship.
Yes.
Do you think that was a coincidence?
No, it was not. I do not think it was a coincidence. I felt like it was God's way of showing me, like, hey, I just needed you to move out of the way so that he can step in, so God can step in and really show me that I can trust myself as long as I have, God in my life. Like, I am with God and God can guide me. I can trust myself and I can guide myself to alignment, to purpose, to happiness, to fulfillment. And so as soon as I left that relationship, it really... It was like night and day. In 6 months, I hit my first 10K month, and the rest was history. I never went back. I did not lack income. Like, after that, it was a blessing, honestly. because of God. Yeah.
That's so crazy. Was there any like belief you held about yourself? So aside from, you've spoken today about like the fact that you wanted to be financially independent. And so you obviously stepped into that. But in terms of the way you actually saw yourself, did you actually like cognitively shift the way you were thinking about yourself to actually embrace that? I mean, to have left a relationship, something must have shifted, right?
Yes. So I had no choice but to be my own backup plan, right? I had no choice. That was like I was in desperation, and I had to, again, have a talk with myself and be like, well, you've relied on others for so long, and where has that gotten you? It's like, why don't you choose yourself for the first time and see what happens? And so I bet myself, that was the day I'm like, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to trust myself. I'm going to put it back into me, and I'm going to see where that takes me. I have never done that before. Let me really trust myself and figure this out for myself. Choose me for the first time. And that's what happened. Like after that, yeah, I had no choice. I was desperate. I had nothing left in me. So who else am I going to choose, right? So I had to choose myself and bet on myself for the first time.
I love this idea of being your own backup plan. Like we often think, oh, okay, my plan A is this safety net I've got now and whatever you're doing now. And then plan B is like, oh, the business might work out, or this person might come into my life, or this opportunity might come up. But actually just having yourself as your own backup plan is so powerful. I had a similar experience this year because as the listeners know, last year I left my corporate job.
Yes.
And I started consulting as a lawyer.
Yeah.
So I have basically that means I have a bunch of clients that I work as their lawyer, but it's more on a project basis. So I don't work for a firm full time. I don't work for any client full time. I'm just my own boss, working very flexibly on a project basis, which really suits me. Obviously in this phase of me becoming a mum and having the podcast, like it helps me juggle everything. But that jump was so scary. And that was I've always been in a salary job, right?
Yes.
And if I've started businesses, it's been on the side, right, of having a salary job. So it's the first time I've not had one. And the first few months were a little bit scary. On January 1 of this year, I literally decided to be my own backup plan. And I said, I'm going to go for this. I'm going to put everything I have into this. And that Q1, like it's like the universe showed me. Yeah. You've got this, girl. Yeah. Like we've literally been waiting for you to just step into this lane.
Exactly.
And now like we're going to show you like what's been waiting for you this whole time. That's honestly how it felt like. But it's so hard to make that commitment and like be your own backup plan. Yeah. So what would you say to people who are feeling like really fearful around that?
Surrender it. Because that's what you did. You're like, I'm surrendering it. Like you are putting your full faith into this lane. And that's what you have to do in order for you to be your own backup plan. You're like, you know what, I'm making this decision. I'm choosing myself. I'm being my own backup plan. There's no way. I have to figure it out. I'm going to figure it out. Whether I know all the answers or I don't. And at the time I didn't have all the answers, but I know that I'm being guided, and it's been proven with the past experiences. And I'm going to surrender it all. And I'm going to let go of the control, because a lot of people, they stay in this mindset of like, okay, like I'm going to play it safe because they want control. The control is in the known. When you're in the unknown, you have to let go of that control, because you can't control the unknown. So I feel like I guess for me, my advice to people is to surrender it all and bet on yourself, and know that someone's guiding you. I'm going to talk about God again, because God really is the person that's going to reveal everything in your path on what you want to do. I feel like for me, my belief system is so strong on I can never lose. I can never lose the income, even if, and I've lost it before. I've gone to multiple six figures and I've lost it all, and I've rebuilt it back even more now. So for me, my belief is so strong that there's no way, even if something were to happen in the physical reality that I have right now, God will make a way no matter what. And that's always been proven to happen no matter what. So now I have full surrender. I surrender, and sometimes I'm scared, but I have to go back to having full faith and and running off of that faith. Faith is my biggest asset in my business. Yeah.
Yeah, I just genuinely believe, like in a very similar way,
Yes.
but framed in a bit of a personal
Yes.
take, is like if you just keep going, there's no way you're not going to succeed. I think the only failure is stopping.
Exactly.
Unless it's something that's genuinely no longer aligned for you,
Yeah.
or it's toxic or something like that, put that aside. If you're working on something and you hold the vision, and like me with this podcast, right? Like people look at it today and be like, oh my God, it's so amazing. But I had to push through weeks where I felt like no one was listening
said 5
and it wasn't
years.
growing. Yeah, exactly.
That's insane. 5 years.
Yeah,
Wow.
1 episode a week.
Wow.
So I
Amazing.
feel like, you have to hold the vision.
Yes.
And this really comes full circle back to values and alignment. Like for me, like this podcast is such an authentic extension of who I am.
Yes.
It's a space for me to learn and connect and just share that with the world. And so because I've always known that it's such a beautiful extension of my personal self, I haven't been worried about all those success metrics along the way. Like I've just held the vision and kept going, and it's now like grown into this beautiful thing, but I'm not surprised by it. You know, I kind of always knew that was going to happen, but I feel like you almost need that. What is it? They call it like delusional belief.
Yes.
That things are going to happen. Like
Yeah.
it feels delusional because it's like you said, it's not something you see in your physical
Yes.
reality, but if you know it's going to happen and you know it's going to come, like
Exactly.
it helps you just keep showing up with that discipline.
No matter what, with the challenges and everything.
Exactly.
You just put it to the side and you keep going. Yeah.
Exactly.
Love that.
I'd love to pick your brain on your thoughts around money.
Okay.
Because obviously it sounds like you've got a very financially abundant mindset and strong money beliefs, which have no doubt played a role in your financial success. How does money actually work and the system that sits under money? Like, what do people really not understand about it?
Okay, so I love this question because it's something that a lot of people don't know, and I would say that money isn't just it's not just money, like physical paper cash money. Money is energy, and it really is all about how well your nervous system is. Meaning, you have to know that you are worthy of the overflow, meaning like you have to know that you are worthy for more. I feel like energy is it's all it is. Money is just energy. Like it's not working harder, it's not hustling the hours away. It's all how worthy how much you think you are worthy of more. So for me, for example, in my journey, I feel like I went through this process where I thought and this is how I ended up in burnout. And it was because I was hustling my life away, thinking that I need to work harder. And I felt like I had to, again, reflect on that moment. Like, why am I so burnt out? Do I have so much resentment on my masculine side? And that's when I realized I think that I had to overcompensate on working harder because that's like, that's how I'm going to make more money. And once I realized that it was because I didn't think that I was worthy of making more money, that's when everything changed. So now I operate from like, I'll do the work, but I won't stress over it. I won't have to, I'll do what I need to do. I know what I have to do. And then I'll let God do the rest. And the energy of that attracts all the different opportunities into my life. So I feel like when you know that you are meant for more, and you know that you can make more money, and money means, I feel like in my life is like, how many more lives can I impact? Like if I focus on service, like serving more people, impacting more people, like this podcast is going to impact more people, and I know that I'm going to make more abundance is going to come into my life. I know that I'm worthy of it. I know that I can make more money based off of the amount of lives I can impact. Then that's what it is. I don't have to work harder. I don't. I am like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, it's like, again, at the end of the day, it is energy. And like, if you operate from a place of abundance, you will show up like that. And that's why I feel like a lot of people are like, are gravitated to my page because of that shows. So I make more money in the process because people are interested in, okay, what does Jazz do? I want to be a light like her. I want to become a better person like how Jasmine has taught me to be. And so then they start to see, okay, what does she do? And so that's where the money comes from. So I feel like if you operate from your, like, regulating your nervous system and learning how to know that you're worthy of more, I feel like more money is going to come into your life because subconsciously you'll just stop it there. So if you think you're not worthy of it, you'll self-sabotage it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like two key things there, like the self-belief in the worthiness, and then the other key one is like working more equals making more, which I feel comes from, you know, I was explaining to you before why we moved to Dubai, and my husband used to be a chiropractor, so his physical time was traded for money. The more he worked, the more money he made. That was just like a sheer reality of what he was doing. So I feel like that's a really important one to break out of for a lot of people, and it's difficult because the way those systems are set up is to keep you in that belief, right? Like, so any specific words to those people? I mean, I know there's other avenues to make money, but like that being your reality makes that belief a really far away jump, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes. So you're saying like the people that like trade time for money?
Yes.
Okay. So we were raised and programmed to think there is not enough. And still till this day, I see it a lot, even with entrepreneurs who are building their business. We were trained to think that there's not enough. So there's not enough of anything, money, especially like and then people think in lack, so they always settle for less. Safety, right? So they settle for safety, but then long-term wise, what does that manifest into? That manifests into unhappiness, unfulfillment, no peace, and like misery. And so you have to really believe that, okay, I can create the reality in my life. In order for me to get more, I have to be more, become more mindset wise, because everything that you attracted into your life is because of the mindset that you have today. So for me, I was so broke when I was 24 years old, 25 years old. And it was because I just always went back to, okay, I know how to make money, and that's by trading my time for it. So you just have to rewire that mindset into thinking like, okay, all I got to do is become a person of value. The more I can learn skill sets that pay me, which is the highest paying skill sets are sales, branding, marketing. These are all very high paying income skills. So if I can learn this and become more of a person of value, I can make more money instead of not having any skills and then clocking in and out every hour and settling for that. Like there's so much money in this world for everyone on this earth to make a lot, like for people to live comfortably. It's just people don't believe it. And so if you can just rewire that mindset and think, okay, let me learn skill sets that pay me very handsomely, and I will start creating a life of abundance financially into my life. So I think that's the mindset, is people just have to believe that you just have to rewire your mindset and stop thinking that there's very little in this world. No, there's enough money, but the people that go after the money are the people that believe that they can make more.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and in my kind of experience too, if you just shift your focus into how can I learn more, grow more, and just genuinely become more as a person, become a person of value, you actually often can't anticipate all the opportunities, both financially and just in life in general, that come off the back of that. Right? Like this, I hate coming back to it all the time, but like this podcast for me is a space where I have learn how to grow as a communicator, how to connect to different people, how to articulate myself.
You can tell.
And that
you're very calm, collect.
Thank you.
You're a great speaker. I love it.
Thank you.
And it shows.
Thank you.
It's probably because of the podcast that you've been on.
So just me doing that, not with the intention of money, has made so many fruitful opportunities, both financial and non-financial.
Yeah.
You know, it's put me in rooms, it's put me in conversations with people I couldn't imagine sitting with.
Yeah.
And so I feel like if you just because money is energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a part of working on your worthiness of whether you feel you want it or not. And so when you remove the focus of how many zeros or like X many figures this year, and you actually just work on yourself as a whole, it's this beautiful like trickle effect into everything. Like it doesn't work in isolation.
Yeah,
And so
exactly.
everything you do kind of fuels that and will contribute to that in terms of your abundance mindset and the way you think and feel about yourself. It's the source of all.
Yeah, it really is. And people just don't believe it because it's not like it has to be tangible. People think they think money is a numbers game. It really is not. It's just a nervous system game. Just regulating that nervous system and knowing that you're worthy of making so much money because of who you are. And the more you better yourself, the more money that's going to come into your life. Yeah.
That's a mic drop right there.
Yeah.
Well, Jasmine, I really loved connecting with you today. I'm sure we could chat for at least another 2 hours, but we'll have to call it here.
Yes.
I will put links to where people can find you online, but I want to just thank you so much for your time. And I'm really grateful that it all aligned and worked out to connect today.
Thank you so much for having me. This made my day, and I'm going to go on my flight just feeling very fulfilled because I just love speaking with like-minded individuals, and you can tell that we are definitely aligned with our mindset. So, and congratulations on your podcast, on your beautiful baby.
Thank you.
Thank you so much once again.
Thank you. Appreciate you.